What's up? What's up? What's up, YouTube? It's your main man, AV the Hero, back again with another video. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in here. We should have a good one for y'all tonight. We should have a good one for y'all tonight. I appreciate all the folks who already liked the video before the stream even started. It was 6 likes. There's only 5 people in here tuned in right now, so I appreciate everybody for doing that. We should have a good show. We got a guest coming in a little bit. Kris Johson live. I'm gonna wait to give him the intro before once he gets in here. But it's up and it's about to be stuck. Right now, we streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. Oh, we 4 different spots. So I'm hype about that. But all right, let's see. Let me see. Let me make sure my man's still coming through. I said we were starting at 9, so I threw that boy on there. Let me see. Hey. There we go. All right. So let me.
Is there a glare?
Huh? I mean, it's. I mean, you're all right. You're all right. The back, I feel like the back is a little blown out, but you're good. Which is so crazy to me. You West Coast right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like midnight here. Not midnight, it's dark. You know what I'm saying? And it's like broad daylight over there right now.
I know, that's wild.
Yeah.
All right.
So we live. It's live already. We live, man. And so I'm waiting a little. You gotta let folks join in, but I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Been hanging in there, man. Grinding, trying to make it in America, brother.
Nah, hey, if anybody feel you on that, I feel you, man. It's supposed to get easier, but it's getting harder and harder day by day. Every time it look like we about to get over something else crazy happen. You know what I'm saying? It's a pandemic, and then all of a sudden it's going on over across. Yeah. The flood over up in New York and the hurricanes. Like, golly, can we get a break?
It's wild. It's wild times out there, man. You got to take care of your money.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. I'm trying to get on that wave myself. Well, shoot, man. Let me see. I wanted to have you on here today for multiple reasons, right?
Okay.
Obviously the NBA season is about to kick back up, and you know what I'm saying, on here oftentimes we talk about the kid LaMelo, the Zoe, the brand, and all of that stuff. And I know that's how we met, is out there in the JBA, you know what I mean? So I still got a strong fan base and folks who interested in that. So I wanted to, for one, get your take and thoughts on that situation, and then what you seen from especially Melo and Gelo at that time. Oh, talking with Fresh on here right now as well.
What up?
So man? We might have to add him in a little bit. So I wanted that, but I think one of the big things that I'm always talking about on this channel, I'm an IVD press in here as well, is the totality of sports, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you could go pro with that sports stuff. There's the marketing in the sports. There's the intangible things that you learn from sports that you can apply to life. You know what I'm saying? We just was talking about trying to, you know what I'm saying, survive in America. And I feel like from what I know about you like the sports entrepreneur, father, you know what I mean? Like I was trying to think of earlier, like I say like you a part of like basketball royalty almost, but then it's like, but it's so expansive beyond that, you know what I'm saying, with the sports and entertainment, you know what I mean? So I wanted to get your perspective on that journey, but then also you got the KJ Live, and you do the interviews and you talk to some interesting people. So I wanted to touch on that and see, like, you know what I mean, what nuggets of truth and just wisdom that you can share with the folks, you know what I'm saying, from that lens as well, you know?
Well, man, it's always great, man, to chop it up with you, bro. I appreciate you, man. We've been trying to do this for a long time, so now we finally connected. So, but to answer your first question about LaMelo, and how he got to where he's at, and the JBA and the LeVar Ball system. I'm a big fan, man. I was a big fan, when we was on the tour together, man. That's why brothers was committing, their summer to travel, in a compressed season and crazy situations, man, to get it in. And we definitely got it in, bro. I think one of the things that impressed me the most about LeVar was his conviction about how good his kids were. That's the thing that always kind of defined LeVar for me, is that no matter what, man, he was pops. He was, I don't care what you say. My kids are better than you. And it was coming from a pops perspective, dog. And he just took it to a higher level, an elite, mainstream level. They obviously put him on TV. And he said what he said, he did what he did, and I'm not knocking nothing about LeVar Ball, man. He's one of my favorite sports figures in the last 45 years of my life, bro. Like he's up there, man. He's an all-time GOAT type because of he created a league, he had a TV deal, he had y'all, we had commentators. I mean, come on, man, get out of here, man. The production was nice, replays, y'all was crunk, it was turned up. We got, stats. I mean, everything was sick, you know what I'm saying, for that little summer. So when you talk about the JBA, just being around guys, being around LaMelo specifically and watching his work ethic, watching how much he loved just being in the gym, being around the guys, how much he loved basketball, how much he loved the process. It wasn't so much of, whatever's on the court. It's just everything that leads up to practice. He's all about it. He's all about all that, man. And that's when a guy really has it, is when he demonstrates that type of just it's love. It's just innate love. It comes from in here, man. And so at that point, man, I knew LeVar had been saying he was going to grow. LeVar had been telling us everything about LaMelo, from LaMelo being 13 years old, man. I was at a game, and I took a picture of him and I put it on Twitter when he was 13 years old, man, playing against 17s in an AAU tournament, a good ass 17 team too, and giving them buckets like it wasn't nothing. So at that point, man, I knew it wasn't a gimmick. I knew he was real. And then so when LeVar ultimately, formed the league, man, and LaMelo was playing 48 minutes a game, man, dropping big triple doubles, 40-point outings, playing at that breakneck pace. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I thought that was perfect for him. And then subsequently going over, the European tour, then the Lithuanian situation, man, I think every situation that LaMelo Ball was placed in, LeVar, it made sense from high school on. It made sense to bounce because LeVar knew as his dad what time it was with his son and what time it was with his boy. And so, that's just the basic bottom line, man. I don't care what nobody say. It worked. So guess what? LeVar's a genius. The whole situation was genius, man. I got a lot out of it, man. Friendships, meet people like yourself. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else, man, associated with the whole tour, the situation, man. I'm just happy to see LaMelo out. As LaMelo, I feel like he's the face of the NBA. He's going to be the face of the NBA for the next, 15 years. I feel like he's going to be everything we hope, a 10, 12-time All-Star. He just has to, take care of his body, and stay out of trouble.
Yeah, nah, I think you're right, man. I think that's what you said you appreciated the most about LeVar. I feel like that's what I took from him as well, right? I always say this all the time. Like people ask me, is LeVar like that in real life? And I'm like, yo, he like that in real life. He not just hyping his kids up just for the camera. Like you go talk to him, you finna hear about his boys. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he believes
that's.
it.
Yeah, he believe it and he run with that, man. And I always say I appreciate that.
And why
that
not?
there's no roadblocks for him, right? If like you said, he realized it's time to go, they get up and go. You know what I mean? You try to stop something, they just move around it, do something else. And I always think that though. How did you get your coaching spot in the league? Because you were with the Seattle Ballers, you and Chuck. Like, how did that come about?
Well, the thing that kind of came about with coaching and me being involved in sort of the AAU world and subsequently the JBA was my son had been a hooper starting around 2014, 2015. So I started coaching all of his teams. Coached him in high school, this and that. I coached him through high school. Then I got plugged in the AAU scene, so I coached him with some big-time AAU teams. I went on the EYBL. He didn't go, but I coached the EYBL team. So right after our EYBL situation, they actually wanted me to come back for the Peace Jam that summer, and I was supposed to be head coach. I had a 16s that was ready to go. And then I got the opportunity. Charles O'Bannon, who's actually the head coach of the Seattle team, hit me up, was like, yo, you want to, get involved with LeVar in this league? And, at first I was kind of hesitant. I didn't really know, I didn't really think like, what was up. But then I just knew, because I was, I'm a big Lonzo fan and Gelo and them guys at Chino Hills. So I had been following them, and I was already like a fan. I was already like on the train, man. So it was like to be associated with the Big Baller brand, the Triple Bs. I felt like I wore that with a badge of honor. Still one of the sickest brands ever launched to me. You know what I'm saying? Triple Bs, bro. That shit was killer. When that came out, hey, remember on the road, we be somewhere and all the kids, everybody, oh, sign this. Everybody had Triple Bs everywhere. They was wearing the shirts. So I wanted to be associated with it, man. And I love coaching. I love giving back. I love being involved with the game, and trying to see, if I can get the most out of player, in a given situation.
No, that's what's up. That's what's up. So tell me this, because this is a conversation that always come up when we talk about this, the JBA stuff, right? Is obviously y'all made it to the championship game. Y'all played against the LA Ballers, right?
Yeah.
But y'all also played against them twice. Played against them with Johson LaMelo on the team, and then once they like upgraded and they added Gelo, you know what I'm saying? Can you remember, or what would you think it like? Was there a huge difference with the Melo Gelo combination? You know what I'm saying, as opposed to the Justin Melo squad? You know what I mean? Do you think that he made that big of a difference, or because I think with them both being on the same team now, potentially in Charlotte, a lot of folks is hyped to see that chemistry come back.
Well, if you remember, AB, we also gave him Big Melvin. And so Big Mel, if you remember Big Mel. So we gave him Big Mel. We gave him Big Mel too. But yeah, when Gelo came, obviously it was a game changer. He dropped like 57 on us in the championship game. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Anytime a guy can give you 57, it's a transcendent type talent. And LaMelo and Gelo have just this chemistry built over a decade. It's over a decade of experience together. These guys, they grew up together, they know each other. So there's certain passes that LaMelo was making full court post ups. Gelo literally was posting dudes up in like the mid post. Melo would pass it from like the opposite free throw line on the post entry. I mean, it was a crazy thing just to witness. No, seriously. And, it was just crazy to witness because it was just unconventional. You never thought about a 75-foot post entry, but that's the kind of stuff that chemistry of the Ball brothers that they developed. Damn. And yes, if I saw Gelo during the summer league, I was out in Vegas, looked good, in spurts, still has some things to improve upon, but I definitely think he's a serviceable NBA player that can contribute in limited minutes.
I think that, so I'll say two things. I always say this about Gelo, right? Because like you say, 57 in the championship game, right? And I always say that there are times where like a dude could go off like that and you'd be like, but it don't, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody, like let's say for instance, Nate Robinson, they was just a couple of dudes in like the Seattle program just went for like 80 or, you know what I mean? Was going for outrageous numbers. And folks was like, dang, like how y'all let him do that? And I was saying that the thing that I appreciated about Gelo and some of the big games that he had was like, if in that game he don't score 57, they lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all, it wasn't no pushover. Like if he don't have an astronomical game like that, y'all beat them easy.
I mean, the reality is we game planned for Gelo. We had a strategy. We wanted to get it out of his hands and double him. Obviously that didn't work. Guys kind of had brain farts, brain freezes during the game. But regardless, Gelo also 6'6". He's strong. He's a very efficient basketball player. So he's able to get off his shot in small spaces. He's a quick release, can catch and shoot with accuracy quickly from 25 to 29 feet, at about a 40% clip. So that's that's a very unique skill to have in today's NBA, especially with his size, strength, pedigree, and he's going to be in condition.
Yeah, nah, that's a fact, man. That was y'all had a squad too, though, man. So
Hey,
you
it
had
was
some
nice.
players.
We should have won it all, man. We should have won. We should have won it. Obviously, the refs, they wanted them to win. I'm not going to say the fix was Ed, but geez. Come on, LaVar.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah.
Lonzo was at the game. It was perfect. Perfect storybook ending for the Facebook reality show.
No, that's a fact. I would say it would have been. I think that obviously the next day whenever they won, there was a lot of like, oh, y'all won y'all own league, you know what I'm saying? And so it has some notoriety to that. And I think like I always wonder if y'all had have beaten them, how crazy like the media cycle would have been on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like
it would have been wild.
Yeah.
Because they was already looking to have some type of negative thing. Remember when my man, was it Eddie from Chicago?
Yeah.
Remember that whole situation, front page USA Today, and then that they didn't want to talk about nothing that we did up until then. But then that situation happens. But obviously Eddie's a great dude. Obviously nothing happened out of that misunderstanding. But you saw how the media works and was slanted towards LaVar and the JBA.
Yeah, no, it was. But I feel like one of the things that I give the league credit for is that anytime you can get that many young, impressionable humans together, moving them around the country with money in their pocket, and like the biggest story that you could come up from that summer was that incident that happened on the court, like that's a win. You know what I mean? Like oftentimes I done hung around some 18, 19-year-old and they get into stuff, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But they was able to stay under control enough and be professional enough that, you know what I mean?
We had a good
for
group.
the most part.
We had a good group. So. We had a good group. Let's keep it real. We had a good group.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been a lot of drama.
No, exactly. Yeah. And it wasn't, man. So that was a blessing. Let me see, man. So like I was saying earlier, man, I realized that you started the KJ lives, and with that I even did some like reactions to some of them, right? And just because you had some great interviews and some dope content coming on there, and I will say that I think that I realized this after the fact, right? Is that it's cool when I was like, yo, man, go make sure y'all go check it out, and then like. I looked over there and then and I was like, yo, let them all know that, you know what I'm saying, I sent you. And then then after like 2 or 3 people was like, AB sent me, I'm like, all right, stop. You know what I'm saying? Like it just you know what I mean? That's too much. But
no, it's all good.
What kind of inspired you to start the KJ Live kind of interview series and kind of where you hope to take it?
Oh man, well, the inspiration, was it was around February, and I was watching Fat Joe, the big show with Fat Joe, and he was reaching out to folks and going live and doing this and doing that, and so there was an episode where he had Cheryl from SWV on, and Cheryl, it was funny. The revelation was that he and Cheryl grew up together in like Forest River or somewhere in Bronx River, somewhere in Bronx, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I had no idea, but it was crazy just to see the juxtaposition of their careers, them blowing up, coming from the hood, the same project, you know what I mean? It was just wild. I was like, man, let me just holler at my guys, start going live. I hadn't been going live with nobody. I hadn't been using Instagram to its fullest capacity. So I was kind of hoping, just to start getting some guys. And so, I started it off, man. I went live with Earl Watson, former head coach of the Suns. I went live with I think my dad and my brother, and just did it with a bunch of folks, and then it started picking up, man. And then about 2 months later, I'm 60 something interviews in, man. I got the hang of it. Obviously, I hollered at you when I first started, man, just to kind of figure out the ins and outs of everything that was going on this side of town. And you were very helpful, and I appreciate everything, the insight. And man, I just tried to grind it out, man. And I did sports, so I was doing like the Final Four with UCLA. I had the former UCLA head coach Ben Howland. He was on breaking down like a game because they was in the same conference. So I had him doing like a pregame breakdown, man, because he coached at Mississippi State. And so we were playing. I forgot who we were playing, but they were in the SEC. So he broke them down for us. I had a bunch of folks, man. Matt Barnes, Baron Davis, Damon Stoudemire, Mike Bibby, like all type of dudes. And then so it went well, man. And then after the Final Four was over, man, I kind of just took a break, started chilling. Some people at different platforms started to demonstrate some interest. And so, yeah, man, I'm working on a kind of a series, a YouTube type series for a company based out here in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills. It's UCLA themed, UCLA centric. I think in the near future, you'll hear my podcast on a major platform at some point pretty soon here. This is kind of something that, has been, being talked about, negotiated. So we'll see, man. We'll see what's going on. I'm just thankful to the Lord for all the blessings and the protection and the insight and the people like yourself and all the resources that are in here, man. Because without that, people, it makes the job a lot more difficult if you don't got that type of love. So I'm just thankful, bro.
Nah, man, that's dope. And I think too, for me, I feel like that's cool to hear, because I don't know if I knew like all of the stuff that was coming down the line with that, but I feel like just as a creator, right? There is something I love doing this right here, right? Hopping on here and talking and sharing my opinion about all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I was telling folks the other day, like, I love it more when I don't have facts, you know what I'm saying? And just straight up speculation and all that stuff. Cause then I could just go and just run with it. But so it's dope to see, like, even in that short period of time, you'll be able to like make that transition and like have it be one of those things where you could do it if you want to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is dope. But with those interviews that you did, right? Is there any, like, I think we reacted to the Earl Watson one, right? And then because he was telling the story about watching Melo hoop at like Rico Hines and
UCLA and then working out after.
Yeah. And so I wanted to see, is there any like interviews or moments that just stuck out with you, or that you like, wow, man, that was a big one, or like, folks, people need to go back and watch this one type of thing?
Yeah, well, I think a couple. I think my interview with Bob Myers, the general manager of the Golden State Warriors. I think there's a lot of nuggets in there that's pretty insightful for people. But my most, I guess, personal interview, well, one of the most personal interviews, was with former University of Arizona basketball assistant coach Book Richardson, who had got caught up in the college basketball scandal and had to do some time in jail. And so I got a chance to talk to Book just about everything that went down, man. We got emotional, and it was a lot of things that was on there because, man, it was just deep to just hear from a man that got vilified for doing stuff that, basically had been going on for, since I had ever known about college basketball. So and to see his life get taken away from him, to see him have to start back up from ground zero, man, start all over again in basketball. And, sure, he still has some connections, but you know how it is after you do a bid, man, it's crazy, right? So he's back in the game, and, he's back on his way up. He's trying to get back coaching. He was coaching AAU. but he wants to get back in the college game, potentially the professional game.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a really insightful interview. I think the Book Richardson interview is something people should really check out. It's deep stuff.
Yeah, nah, man, that's deep, man. I think that I always talk about this where I had a video earlier. I mentioned this as well. I think that to me, that's powerful because one of the reasons why I even started covering this content, right? Or the Ball family in general, right?
Yeah.
LaMelo and Gelo and those guys. Well, I don't say what started, but like what made me go deeper with them is I used to work at I say this and I feel like I'll be on repeat sometimes, but I used to work at a youth shelter. And I hear these kids who be like, man, I don't even know. I can't even try. Like, I'm in a youth shelter. I ain't got no parents. You know what I mean? Life is over, right? Like, it's done. I done messed up already. I got kicked out of school. I can't play football. All I want to do is play basketball. The coach won't let me on the team. And then I would hear people talk about LaMelo and Gelo the same way, as if like life is over. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm like, this kid driving Lamborghini. His brother is on his way to the NBA, and folks are if people believe that he is done, then like these young kids who I'm working with don't got a chance. You know what I mean? And it's impossible for me to like to get that through to them. So when I hear you tell that story, right, that's another circumstance where you think like you go down for something like that, even if it's stupid, like you get that on your record. A lot of people might think like it's over for me. You know what I'm saying? I can't bounce back. I can't come from there. You know what I mean? So it's dope to be able to share those type of stories, man, where, you know what I'm saying, it is somebody who has had to start over and maybe have failed a bit, but is standing back up and kind of persevering, you know?
Man, I think the moral of the story is, AB, like to your point, is that, we fail all the time. Failure is not, something that's foreign to the human nature, right? So we're not going to be able to do what we set out to do. But how do we respond to failure? How do we respond when we get caught up? How do we respond to, getting napped? Man, in college, man, I got in trouble my senior year. Got suspended 5 games for undisclosed reasons. You know what I'm saying? I had smoked some marijuana before marijuana was legal. You know what I'm saying? I was one of the first.
Yeah.
I was one of the first athletes on the the marijuana for medicinal purposes because of my bones and my aches and pains. I was on that back then, so I got suspended, and I was on the front page of USA Today. I was on CNN. I was on ESPN. I was on Fox for negative reason. I embarrassed my mother, my father, my family, my grandparents, my aunts, my cousins, everybody that you can imagine, bro. And so when they talk about, bouncing back and, this ain't nothing, man, you got to keep things in perspective, right? I felt like I was at my lowest point, but, I addressed my issues. I apologized for my sins, I atoned for my sins. And, I made it back to the team and had my best years at UCLA. Averaged like 21 a game in Pac-10, man. I was killer after suspended 5 games. But, the reality was I messed up. I made the choice. So, you got to own it and move forward. You can still do it. Nobody out there should be thinking like because they screw up that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's the bounce back. The sweetest revenge is the bounce back. How do you bounce back? That's what you got to really figure out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you, man. Damn, I didn't know that story. You know what I'm saying? But it's that's that is the I feel like what I realize it's also amazing to have a lot of people or people in your corner who believe in you, right? So you say like in that situation, you might have disappointed a lot of people, embarrassed a lot of people, but people don't let you go. You know what I mean? Like they nobody, you still got people to turn back on. And I think that, and I feel like I always do this, but I think in your UCLA story, I think about Gelo's UCLA story with the sunglasses
Absolutely.
and same thing. Now it's everywhere, and so it is a bit of a blessing that even today, you know what I mean. Like you had to take the long way around, but but ended up, you know what I mean. At least at the Hornets eventually, you know.
But he ends up humble. So he ends up with the sense of having to prove himself, not kind of on a high horse. So now maybe his career trajectory looks a little different. He may have to earn stuff a little more than he had to, although he is Melo's brother, LeVar's son, Lonzo's brother. he still has a disposition on his face and in his body language that says he's humble. I'm here to work, and I'm just like everybody else.
Nah, definitely, definitely. But can you talk about? Because I know I mentioned earlier, like I feel like you. I don't know how y'all do it, but you come from a family of folks who like have damn near made it in every realm possible of making it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can you like uh give some like insight on that, you know what I mean? And just kind of like the different avenues that the people who are close to you in your life are like winning at this moment. And and
Yes.
and what I would like, I'll follow up with it, but I want, how does that happen? You know what I'm saying? How everybody who out here shooting just start making that thing and it look like it's going? Is it that easy, or what's the, you know what I mean, the journey behind that?
It's not, man. It starts with my grandparents. They moved out here from Natchitoches, Louisiana, in the late '50s, and we grew up. My parents, my mom, my dad, his family grew up in South Central. Then they moved to the View Park area of Los Angeles. It's like Ladera Heights area, but it's solid. But blue collar, man. Everything's about blue collar. It's about perfecting your craft. It's about working hard. In our family, that's what my grandfather was. He was a jack of all trades, had licenses in several trades, was a teacher, master barber. He could weld, could drive trucks, man, taught metal and shop in high school back when high schools taught trades. And so everybody kind of had a grind mentality in our family on both sides. And so for us, man, having a dad, when I speak of me and my brother and my dad, making it, being the number 3 draft pick in the '77 draft and 5-time All-Star, and having his number retired by the Bucks, essentially making it in the NBA, it set the bar high for all of us too. So when we're growing up in that household, man, it's like, whatever it is that we all took a liking to, or whatever it was that we were interested in, we did it, and we did it with some seriousness, like we was trying to make it. Because we had the example of MJ, my dad, Marcus Johnson, MJ, and we wouldn't take no for an answer. And so everybody from my brother Josiah, who's an accomplished writer, man, he's had a comedy animation show on Comedy Central. He's worked on the Colin Kaepernick miniseries produced with Ava DuVernay that's going to be on Netflix. Yeah, man, that thing that's just coming out that you heard about, man. My brother's producer writer on that, and he's obviously, what people don't know, he's one of the most engaging personalities on Twitter. King Josiah 54. My brother Mariah he has a master's degree in occupational therapy. He was the star of Baldwin Hills on BET back in the day, man. He was a star of a reality show back in the day, but ended up at Tuskegee Black University, killed it down there, man. Doing great things with himself. I have another brother, Joshua, that's he starred with Megan Thee Stallion and a couple of all of her commercial campaigns for Cash App. If you watch them things, I don't know if you've seen them, but she got this whole campaign for Cash App, man, that he's featured in. But he's an actor, model, done a lot of things, man, and and we're all just doing stuff, man. I got my stuff. I'm a semi-entrepreneur, man, when I can. When the COVID ain't killing the business, man, I just had to shut down a blow dry bar that I was a partner in for the last 3 years. But man, just learning, you just doing stuff, trying to really live up to the example that Pops really showed us, man. That's it.
Yeah, no, I think that's what I was saying earlier when I think, the beauty of social media is you get a window into everybody's life. So then I seen that you had the blow dry bar. I was like, damn, you doing like, you know what I mean? Like that's unexpected, but that's dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta
And
hustle.
and I think that it's cool because like I realized there's two things that I wish I would have known when I was younger, right? I wish I would have known like the value of hard work, right? Because I was an athlete growing up, and I played football, and I went D1 and all that stuff. But I just was like gifted, freakishly athletic. You know what I mean? I run a 4.2, 4.3 40, just wake up like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was saying this. I talked about this earlier too. Like I felt like I was one of them people who I would see people putting in the extra work, but I thought like they were trying to put the extra work in to get where I was at. You know what I mean? So I don't even need to put it, but I didn't realize till after the fact that in order to even get to where I wanted to be, like I still needed that extra. You know what I mean? Like the
Absolutely.
people who put that extra work in and that extra hard work, they exceeded expectations. You know what I mean?
That's
And
the
while
name
I
of the
was
game.
just I was just trying to meet them. You know.
Yeah.
Um, so I think so that was deep, man. I think I also appreciate the like when I noticed that your brother was the I used to do an animation here on YouTube as well called
Okay.
Dragon Ball CPT. So that was
Okay.
my first YouTube. That's what I was saying. I used to do YouTube like animations, and then eventually I switched over and started doing this like sports content.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there's this like ceiling that I think, especially folks from my neighborhood, that I felt like trying to be a writer or a commentator or anything, right? It seemed like that's unobtainable, unrealistic, you know. So I thought it was dope when I found out that your brother was the person who like wrote that show, you know what I mean, the Chamberlain Heights show.
Yeah.
And then even when I seen that you had a blow dry bar, right? That's some shit I would have never thought of. But like just seeing like black folks kind of expounding and doing things that's different than like what we, you know what I mean, would typically would push us to in our community, man, is dope for me. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely. At the end of the day, man, it's trying to make $1 out of the 15 cent.
yeah, yeah. And I think the important part of that is trying to make the dollar. You know what I mean? I think that so many people think that they can't try or they don't try, you know, they just keep the 15 cents and then are just comfortable with it. You know what I mean? But you
Scared money
actually got
don't
to
make
try
money.
to.
Scared
Exactly.
money
Yeah.
don't make money, bro. Come on.
Exactly. No, exactly, man. So no, that's cool, man. That's super cool. I'm trying to think. I know some of the stuff that my folks want to talk about. Can we go back to um I remember like we were talking about earlier that Earl Watson interview, right?
Word.
And then he's breaking down the Rico Hines situation with LaMelo
Yeah.
and I'm trying to I remember that one and I did watch the one that you had with the agent of the GM of the Golden State Warriors, and that one was really good too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
So I I will suggest that everybody y'all go watch that one too. But
Yeah.
with that, man, can you, because I know that in your travels and conversations that like the LaMelos, the Gelo, their whole like journey has came up, right? From your perspective, can you talk about like what is the kind of like that industry or like what is the how other people are like in those circles like think of them, right? You talk to the Matt Barneses, the Baron Davises, the Earl Watsons, and I'm sure at some point, you know what I mean, like that journey is big enough to where it comes up. Like, what do they think of that, or
Well,
those guys? If
without
you could
saying
share, yeah.
no names,
Mhm.
the Melo Jello LeVar Ball conversation, Lonzo Ball conversation sort of evolved with certain guys in the network that you mentioned. So
Mhm.
it was an acquired taste for some.
Yeah,
They had to grow on others.
yeah,
But at the end of the day, and just like I always maintain from Jump Street, they are who I said they were.
hmm
And so so that's what it is. And skepticism and not really believing a guy like LeVar when he's actually telling you what's about to happen. It's hard to swallow, but you have to understand, man. Confidence is a serious thing, brother. Belief is amazing. Faith, woo, it can get you places. And when it's truly
yeah,
faith, and that's what I saw, man. I mean, we can dress it up and say what we want, man, but how you have basically 3 kids about to be in the NBA and only one of them played 1 year at college. And you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And you came from Chino Hills, and only one played college. And now you're gonna have 3 in the NBA. Got to give love to LeVar and Tina Ball. She never gets enough love. She never gets the recognition, but she's just as important as a piece and a part of these three young men's lives as LeVar.
Yeah. Nah, I think that you said something that's crazy. That I don't think that I think some people nowadays try to, like, even when last year when Gelo was in Detroit, like the conversation of three sons in the NBA, right? But I didn't even think about it the way you just put it, of not three sons in the NBA, and one of them went the traditional route. You know what I'm saying?
One of them went to college, bro.
Yeah.
And they're not none of them are big men. None of them are 7 feet. Let's be clear. He's got 3'6", 6'7", 6'8" type dudes. That's not normal.
Yeah, no, that's deep. That's deep. I hadn't even thought about that through that lens. Like that's even extra hard. You know what I'm saying? Like to get three there is hard, but to get three there the way that he did is extremely hard. And I think too, even thinking about those journeys, like the Gelo journey of, we hadn't seen Gelo's last game that he played was in the JBA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Outside of this first time in the summer league. So to be able to get to this place where he even on the squad and you ain't played the game in 3 years, like that's also damn near unheard of, you know?
It is. So, but he's been working out and staying tight.
Mm-hmm. Which, to your point, that hard work, you know what I mean, is
and that's the one thing they will do, bro. They will live in that gym. That's what you got to understand about them ball boys. Them ball brothers, they gonna be in the gym.
Yeah.
With a smile, loving what they're doing. That's the thing about LaMelo, man. I was like, damn, you don't get tired? He like, nah, he working out when he got the flip-flop on, when he's supposed to be resting after practice. He's supposed to be walking home. He's still in the flip-flop. I'm like, hey man, stop, man, chill out, dog.
Yeah. Nah. That's deep. Yeah, that's the same thing I say. I always tell a story about LaMelo where when we were in Russia, right? What I used to do is, because I can't pronounce none of them names. When we that European trip, I don't know how to. I'm calling everybody their wrong name. But what I would do is, so I could know something about the team that we were playing. I would go talk to like somebody in the organization, right? Tell me about your ball club, who your best player, like, you know what I mean? How old are them? Give me some, because to Americans, the European network of basketball don't make sense. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got the NBA, we got college. If you playing in the NBA, you're a super hooper. If you're in college, you D1. Like, that makes sense to us, right? Over there, they got the top tier pro leagues. You know what I mean? Every country got a league. And so I would be trying to get that information from folks. And I remember talking to the guy, and we were watching like this USA team play. And he was just like, look at Melo. Like, he's 16, 17 at the time. So he just having fun. Like, he just laughing and smiling. Like, he don't even take this serious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I promise you that when the game starts, you're going to see another person. You know what I mean? And after the game was over, he came to me and was like, yo, he's the best person in the gym. You know what I'm saying? He was prepared for that because it was CSKA Moscow. That's what we played. And he was prepared for their guys to show us like what real basketball is. And he came in and he said, yo, I don't know who that is. It's night and day. Like, he flipped the switch and all of a sudden everything I seen him, like, you know what I'm saying, just having fun and just hooping and walking around and enjoying it. It's like, it looked like, you know what I mean? And so I always tell that story of like, it's an example to me of like how much he loves the game and how much he cares about it and how much it matters. You know what I mean? Where it is just fun and it's we smiling and joking. And if you watch him at the right time, you think like he just having, he ain't even taking it that serious. But then you watch him at that another time and it looked like, you know what I mean, he'll kill everybody in here to get this rebound.
And the thing is that he takes it, when you take it serious, you do everything that in your power, right, to make sure you're prepared for the game. So when you see him joking around and you see him, laughing and doing the layups. He's chilling. He's just being a kid. He's in the layup line. He's just being himself. Like, that's all good. That's the only time in the next 48 minutes or however long the games are y'all was playing. That's the only time you go see that. Okay, until the end of the game, bruh. Like, that little joking stuff. Like, he's about to go at y'all like the dog that he is, and he's gonna be long. And them crossovers and them threes, you ain't gonna think he's gonna make, and them things gonna drop in, and you gonna be like, damn, he made that. And he gonna pull up, he gonna point down, and you gonna be like, no, he ain't gonna shoot that. And he gonna shoot it. It's like Steph. He's like a 6'8" Steph. He gonna be like Steph when it's all said and done. LaMelo's gonna be like Steph. Watch. He gonna be doing all. He just gonna be like Steph. Watch. LaMelo's gonna be like Steph when it's all said and done. That three ball is gonna be like 48, 49%, dog. Watch. He's gonna be wet. How much basketball? You know how many reps this dude done got up? You know how much basketball that dude plays? Give me a break. Man, I'll get crunk, man. When you watch him, you can just see in his moves. AB, you be seeing the moves he be making.
Yeah.
That's not normal, dog. I don't care. I be watching your videos when you break stuff down too. I love when you be breaking down shit. I'll be like, yeah, man, because that's not normal. Everything he does is not. I'll be like, what?
No, that's a fact, man. I remember through the season, he had the underhand full court pass that kind of sent the internet crazy.
Nasty.
The coming down, the lobs, the behind the, you know what I'm saying? Just the stuff that other folks might take a simple approach to it. He able to execute with the same precision, but with the flair. You know what I mean?
It's easy.
So
it's easy.
It's easy, yo. No, it's easy. It's easy. Shoot, man. You know what? You kind of touched on it earlier, but I wanted to double back to this as well. The landscape of basketball is changing right now, right? With the not pay for play, but now you can make money off your likeness, right? And so a lot of folks attribute some of these drastic changes that we've seen over the last couple of years to the creation of the JBA, and maybe it put some pressure on, let's say, like now you got the G League situation that started where now they paying players to come instead of going to college. Then as a result, now college is letting you make money off your likeness. Do you think that stuff may have been triggered or was a result to what happened with the JBA, or was that just stuff that was coming down the pipeline?
No, everything has a catalyst. I think when they saw how the JBA model was able to work and actually be executed to where there was a national TV deal basically on social media, and we went to different places, you saw that there was enough talent that would be willing to forego their college eligibility to play for that amount of money. And so now with the G League, they raised the stakes. Overtime Elite, they raised the stakes. There's another league, they're raising the stakes on the salary. So they're attracting elite level high school players. I do think LeVar was a visionary, although certain grassroots operators in the LA area would disagree with me. I do think LeVar was the first one to do it on the biggest scale. But I think that, the NCAA, it is what the NCAA is what it is. It's an organization that has taken advantage of, predominantly, young black male athletes, not paid them, made millions off their likeness. This is the 50, 60 years before all this stuff started to free up, till Ed O'Bannon spoke up. Until some things started to change, the Supreme Court got involved, right? So before all that, the NCAA ran everything. They told you what to do, how much you go eat. They told you couldn't work. They told you couldn't do things. You can't make money. No, can I make money off? Can I do a commercial? No, you can't do none of that, man. You got to just live tough, man. You got to just not make no money, man, and suck it up, man, because, we paying for your scholarship. it was the most ridiculous system I think any of us had ever heard of. So for today's athlete, I'm glad for them. Kudos to you. But for me, it's too little, too late. I'm like, it's whack. It's all whack. But I do like the other avenues for elite level high school athletes to be able to go to different leagues, a la the JBA.
Yeah, nah, I think too, and I kind of talked about this earlier. What I realized traveling with the JBA, especially through Europe, was there's so many opportunities for developmental basketball in these different countries over there, right? Where you can actually get some money. Where I think LaMelo said this in that interview recently, like, man, school, we don't need school. We trying to go pro. You know what I'm saying? And to us here, that sounds crazy, right? But like over there, when Luka Doncic is 14 and going to another country to go play pro basketball, it's not that crazy of a thought. You know what I mean? Like when we look at these different ball clubs and they got feeder organizations into their main team in 3 different levels of it. You know what I mean? Like it's not that crazy. So I'm happy that like if the NBA is the end all be all, like the top tier league, that at least we got some other opportunities for these kids to be able to make some bread off of their talents and abilities before you get to or don't make it to the NBA, right?
It's only fair, man. It's too many talented young men. It's too many talented young men to be limited to the top 500. It needs to be the top 1,000 players in the world, the top 1,500. There needs to be, everybody can get some of this money. Right now, with the size of these TV deals, with everything coming back, kind of with COVID, making it to the NBA, man, you see, some of these contracts, guys are getting $50 million a year, bro. I mean, you're getting 48 average a year for this top tier star. A guy like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope made $20 million, $40 million when he was with the Lakers. So that's kind of how you got to kind of start thinking about life if you're an athlete that, if you make it to the NBA in the next 10 years, you might get a contract worth $75 to $100 million, 1 year, the 400 million. We're going to start seeing crazy numbers. So all that being said, you have to go about your business the right way if you're a college athlete.
Do you think so? One of the things that folks on my channel I've seen a lot of people talk about nowadays is fathers now who understand like the branding now through like watching LeVar and the Big Baller Brand. He like, I started this when they was babies. I see more and more fathers who are like got their kid. I know a dude in town who his kid is in AAU, like 11 years old, and got his own Instagram account for hooping. Right, he got his own logo already, and they're already starting to foster and build brands. Do you think? Can you see that becoming more of a thing? And like, do you have any like imagine like where you think that might be able to go? Right, especially with now you can make money in college.
I like it a lot. Actually, it's pretty prevalent. The top young lady, I think she's a senior this year in the nation. Juju Watson, she has her own logo. She was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Her parents took control of her branding early, and a lot of young elite level high school athletes are doing so. I think it's a great move. I love when parents are involved because no matter what anyone says, I don't care what anyone says, that your parent is somebody you could trust. No matter how sweet, nice someone is from the outside, it's still your mom or your dad, and they have your best interest at heart. So that's my personal belief, and a lot of people don't believe in that. So I think that more athletes need to take control of their brand, need to maximize their value, and get every single cent that they're worth.
No, I think they should do it too, man. And I think this YouTube platform is one that I want to see a lot more people take advantage of. I think about the one kid who was a kicker at like UCLA, UCF in Florida. You know, I'm talking about this guy destroying, and he was a kicker, had a YouTube channel, really wasn't making too much money on it, make a couple $100, and then the NCAA took his scholarship in order for it. He's like, you either keep going on YouTube or you give us a scholarship. Kept going on YouTube, and then now obviously this probably is not the case for everybody, but now is making a substantial living off of doing this YouTube, you know what I mean, leveraging his personal brand, you know.
Yeah,
And so
it's a crapshoot though. It's a gamble though. You know that, AB. It's a gamble.
yeah,
Everybody doesn't win. Everybody doesn't build up to 14,000
yeah,
subscribers. You know, it's obviously a magic associated. There's somewhat, I don't know if it's luck, but it's hard work. When hard work meets preparation, and then there's that little magic thing that happens, man, where somehow one day, you know, something, you know, the right person sees it and then they share it and then it blows up. That's just how it goes. Everybody don't get that. So my thing is, you know, he won that particular battle with the NCAA, but you know, everybody, it's not gonna work for everybody. So you got to know going into it, it's a gamble, and if you know that, then you should be able to live with the losses.
Yeah, and you know what? I think you're right. It is. I feel like this is the theme of this, but it's the hard work. Because I remember whenever he left college and started doing videos, I was watching his stuff afterwards, and I was like, boy, you made a mistake. This whatever videos you're making right now, not gonna last. You know what I mean? They ain't gonna get it. And then all of a sudden he kept going, and then his content switched, and now he damn near make movies. You know what I mean? And so it paid off. But I could see how so many people might take them first 2 months and things don't immediately shoot to the top, and then you start to like second guess it and then get up out of there and then regret that. So but the hard work, man, it pays off. I would always think too is super cool is I say I like look at LeBron, right? And I look at what he did with his team. Okay, so to me, I think like the trajectory of basketball branding and like people who are like the athletes taking their business over, to me, like started like in like the LeBron era. Well, I'll say maybe Jordan. So you got Jordan, who's the greatest player ever. He signs a deal with Nike. Eventually, now he's got his own brand, right? And so, but it's Jordan and Nike. Then you take LeBron, who still got the deal with Nike and all that stuff. But now the people around him got the deals with the networks and their own agency. You know what I mean? And he kind of built it in that way. And I always looked at what was happening with like the big baller brand as the next evolution from like what LeBron started, right? Empowering his team. And then to now you at a place where it's not even just your team, like it's your whole family. You know what I mean? Like, and so I want to see, I even think like and I don't think they get enough credit, but the Newmans, like Julian Newman and you know what I'm talking about? It's a little family, Julian and Jaden Newman. They're like 5, he's like 5'5". But his dad has had him hooping on like TV or whatever for a long time. So they have their own like overtime TV show and all of this stuff. Okay. And like same thing you're talking about where like LaMelo, Gelo, they like 6'6", and then they're doing what they're doing. He like 5'5". Now he might not be talented enough per se to like go play D1 somewhere, right? Because he don't have the size, but he has leveraged his brand good enough to where his whole entire family eats off the ability of these 5'5" basketball players. You know what I mean? Just because they got a little following, and then it's not even like close to the level of like the big baller brand and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lane for everybody, man. You just got to figure out what your lane is. There's a lane for everybody. That's what you got to realize.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping that the next generation of hoopers take that like ideology and perspective of if they did it, then there's somewhere for me to make some money, right? Because it can't be you either are in the NBA making millions and millions of dollars, or you can't feed yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like there has to be some in between.
Yeah, I don't know though. Like we'll have to see, because you know you can count how many of them are out there former hoopers trying to be social media stars, doing trick shots, the dunks, all the dribble tricks. There's a few of them out there, but I don't know how that's going to turn out. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. Nah, I think so too. I I have from this social because I've been on the YouTube and doing this content creator stuff for a long time. And I think the reason that I have never went like full time, I'm just gonna be a YouTuber and I'm gonna build this thing out, is that I always looked at it like maybe this is just a bubble. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe this eventually is gonna burst. But I think that what I have seen is that there are people who started doing this 10 years ago and like maybe they have pivoted a little bit, but somehow some way they still are thriving off of, like, you know what I mean, the content. And so I don't know, it somehow some way folks out here get smarter and smarter, man, start making these NFTs or whatever, and you know what I mean, they might be able to keep it going
Yeah,
for a while.
just keep
Yeah.
after it. Yep.
Yeah. So let me see, man. I want to ask you a few more questions, and then we'll wrap this thing up, man. Um, what is So you got the KJ Live stuff coming up next? I know you had a son who was hooping too, right?
Yeah, he was at he just graduated from the University of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be at Humboldt State this year, getting a master's degree, MBA, and then
Okay.
he'll play his last year of college basketball.
Legit. Could you, if there's a dad out here watching and is trying to like help get their kid to that level, like what would be the advice that you would give?
Man, there's no exact science. That's the first thing that we gotta just kind of full disclosure. Stuff always doesn't work. It's got to be a lot of it has got to be how much the kid is willing to do things when you're not on his ass about doing things, and that's just what it comes down to. How independent, how independent of a worker, how as studious of a student, and does he take care of his body, his or her body? I think
Mm-hmm.
all those things kind of factor into it. Because parents do a lot for children, and sometimes parents get discouraged because they can't figure out why, after all their efforts, it just doesn't work. You see that all the time, and you hear parents. I know a lot of parents, and they say that. And the reality is, it's got to be in the kid. So you got to find something that the kid absolutely loves, that
Mm-hmm.
he can fall asleep doing, and that's what you got to support him. And so, I don't really have the secret magic formula. We were all blessed with really good genes and big shoulders, and we could, a lot of us could play a little bit and good IQ, but I think a lot of it was, the work ethic that we saw
Nah,
in our family.
legit. And like we talked about with the different, the culture of basketball changing as far as being able to make that bread. Is there anything that you think would be like if you're hooping today and you're trying to build that brand, or maybe create some avenues to where if hoop don't work, I can do this, or you know what I mean? Even if you are a hooper and you about to get some notoriety, like here are the things that you should like be doing, or like the groundwork that you could be laying for yourself. You got anything for that?
Well, you got to be active on social media. So you got to have, sort of a consistent social media identity, a presence, a voice that, makes sense for what you're doing. As a hooper, you don't want to talk too much stuff, but, you want to be able to engage and have fun, but you
Mhm.
also want to be able to have a professional representation of who you are, because that matters as much to an institution and a coach as your game nowadays. So a lot of it is branding. Um,
Yeah.
you also want to, go into it doing your due diligence on things like the NIL and positioning yourself to maximize your full potential off the court. Because it is a rule now, and it does make sense because you do have the time to kind of explore these different opportunities. Keep your nose clean, stay out of trouble, Don't get in trouble. That's number one. That's probably the most important thing for student athletes is don't trick off the brand. Hey, don't trick off the bag, dude. That's number one. And then, finally, just, the way you can win in today's world is being open and not being sort of closed off and listening to people and sort of, asking questions and being interested in what other people are talking about. Everything is really self-centered nowadays. It's me. So when you find, if you're a student athlete out there and you're trying to figure out what's going on, start learning about people, listen to people, and then, be a sponge and learn and then implement some of that stuff into your daily process.
Yeah, no, that's deep. That's deep, man. That sponge part, man, that's huge, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I think that your experiences and things that you were exposed to, man, can change your life,
Absolutely.
And so no, it's big. It's big. Man, I appreciate you hopping on here with me, man.
Always.
Yeah, I might stay on for a little bit longer. I think I'm gonna throw the link out here to invite some other folks to join the chat if they in the section and want to get on. Sometimes we do like the little, open forum conversation and all of that stuff, man. So you're welcome to, to stay and chat and talk to the people, you feel me? But if you got to go, I know in LA, man, it's nice over there, it look like.
Yeah, man, I got a dinner, man. I gotta head out about 8:00, so I gotta shower, shave up a little bit, bro. But man, I appreciate you having me on, dog, and I'd love to do it again.
For sure, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. And I'd love to have you again too, man. We grinding out here these days, you feel me? So
absolutely.
Yeah. And if there's any way that I could be of service, man, for you, just let me know, man.
Man, likewise, my man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, bro.
All right, cool, man. Thank you, man.
All right,
KJ
peace.
Live. Go ahead and subscribe to my man's channel, and all of that stuff. Watch some of them old interviews and get some of that game.
Yeah, get with me, man. There's some good stuff on there, man. You just gotta listen to the interviews. It's a lot of game in there. Go ahead and check it out.
No, that's a fact. There's a ton of game, but all right, appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah. All right, there we go, man. That's I feel like we have not done like that type of interview situation or just conversation 1v1 like that on this channel, or at least not in a while, man. So I appreciate my man Kris Johson live for hopping on here. Let me make sure I put the link to his channel in the description. I'm gonna also add that here to the chat, man, so y'all can tap in with him and subscribe if you'd like to. Yeah, there you go. Should update in the description. Nah, man, that was dope, man. Like I said, I know him from the JBA, and obviously that was a dope experience for me. Oh, here we go. That was a dope experience for me, man. Meeting some cool people and like being able to have some cool conversations and stuff like that. With some guys who had just done a lot of stuff, right? It was just a great experience. So as you hear, like, played ball at UCLA, been through a lot, dad is a Hall of Famer and all of that stuff, man. It's just a different life, you know what I mean? So it's pretty chill. But man, if y'all want to hop on here, man, or got anything else or any other questions or stuff that y'all want to talk about, man, let me know. Throw that boy in the chat. or else we finna get up off here. I got to drive to Chicago in the morning. God dang. I'll be in Chi-Town tomorrow, man. I told you I'll be doing the video stuff. So I had a video shoot in Chicago tomorrow. I really don't want to do it. I was trying to hire somebody else to do it, but it backed out at the last second. So now your boy got to make that drive up to Chi-Town for a couple of hours, then turn around and come right back to do some photos tomorrow night here in Naptown. Dun, dun, dun. Boycott, don't want it. Oh shoot, man. Let me see. All right, folks, we're gonna slide. We will be back tomorrow with another video, I'm sure. Man, I'm glad that we had that conversation, man. I think that I hadn't. Obviously, I'm somebody who has given LeVar his praise for, or the family, their praise for, you know what I mean, what they have done and accomplished as far as making it to the league. But I hadn't even put it in perspective of, you know what I mean, having 3 boys who hadn't actually even like cool, you know, I mean, not even all of them went the traditional route, like, and how complicated that is, right? I talk about it all the time where folks will tell me, man, there ain't no way that's gonna happen when you know what I mean, the NBA or whoever, they're gonna let that happen, or they're gonna, let me see, man. Sure. All right, y'all. We finna slide. It's your main man, AB the Hero. Thank y'all for coming through. We getting up out of here. Peace.